Today's lesson may be the most important lesson in this series on sin and salvation, so I hope you'll stay tuned.
There's a message true and glad for the sinful and the sad. Ring it out, ring it out, ring it out. It will give them courage new, it will help them to be true. Ring it out, ring it out, ring it out, ring it out.
Ring out
Merrily ring,
the word,
speeding away.
Lord, man,
Message divine,
and see.
send it today.
Still far from Jesus, many live in
Lost and
sin.
those in doubt, darkness and doubt.
Welcome to our program today. Glad you've chosen to be with us as we continue our series of lessons that we began a number of weeks ago on sin and salvation. As I mentioned a moment ago, this may be the most important lesson in this series. And I say that for this reason, because this lesson deals with attitudes. And the Bible affirms that our attitudes determine our actions. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23, verse 7. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life. Proverbs 4, verse 23. And our attitudes about sin will determine our actions regarding those sins. And so in order for us to react properly and appropriately to sin, we have to first possess a proper attitude about it. And whenever we see people who react and respond to their sins in ways that they should not, then we can deduct from that there is a poor attitude somewhere in the mix that has brought about this poor action. So that's one reason why, a major reason why, sin overtakes a lot of folks, is because they have improper attitudes towards sin. And so let's consider this morning a few of those improper attitudes towards sin that we might avoid them. First of all, some people deny sin. Some people just simply believe and act as though sin just simply doesn't exist. This is generally the ploy of the atheist or the humanist. They simply deny that there is any such thing. And the reason they deny it is this: because many of them, many atheists and humanists, recognize that if there is no God, if there is no being that is above human beings, that has set up an objective standard of conduct, then there is no standard of conduct above human beings. And so whatever a human being chooses to do, then that must be right. Now, not all atheists and not all humanists espouse that view of human conduct, but some do, and that's why they espouse it. Because if there is no God, then there is no objective standard. Human beings can simply make up whatever rules and laws they want to make up, and since there is no other being to whom we humans must answer, then therefore whatever it is we choose to do is right, and there is no such thing as sin. Now, there is no such thing as a violation of God's laws, because there is no God whose laws we may violate. So some people just simply deny sin. But that, of course, is not an issue with people who believe in God and who believe in the Bible. And it's not our purpose in this series of lessons to go into all of the reasons why we can know and prove that there is a God and that the Bible is His Word. We have done programs on those topics in the past, and you're free to contact us and request those. We'll be glad to send those to you free of charge. But for the person who believes in God and believes that the Bible is His Word, then the reality of sin is no problem because the Bible affirms its existence. Sin is the transgression of God's law, 1 John 3, verse 4. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, Romans 3, verse 23. But to deny sin is basically the same as the patient who has been diagnosed with a terminal malignancy who simply turns to the doctor and says, "Doc, I'll be fine because I don't believe in cancer." Well, you may deny that sin exists if you so choose, but just because you deny its existence doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. A second poor attitude about sin is that some people mock sin. Some people make fun of sin. Some people use sin as an opportunity to simply have a good laugh or a good chuckle. Now, there's nothing wrong with good, clean humor. The Bible affirms that. Laughter does good as a medicine. Proverbs 17, verse 22. But to use sin as an opportunity for enjoyment really borders on blasphemy. And the Bible is clear on the fact that our attitude towards sin should not be an attitude of enjoyment and entertainment. Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 6, in that great chapter on love and what genuine love is, he said, "Love rejoices not in iniquity." Love does not find occasion for rejoicing and happiness in the sins of others or in the sins of oneself. The Bible also affirms that those who do mock sin and use sin as an occasion for enjoyment are actually very foolish. Proverbs chapter 14, verse 9 says very simply, "Fools mock at sin." Proverbs 10, verse 23 says, "To do evil is like sport to a fool." So those who use evil and sin as an opportunity for mocking and enjoyment are people who do not have a proper concept of an attitude toward sin nor toward God. Do you know that's the prevailing attitude in much of what comes on our televisions today and much of what's portrayed in movies today? Sinful behavior is laughed at, is used as opportunities for enjoyment and happiness, and usually the only time anything is mocked or made fun of as far as godliness is concerned is when godliness is portrayed and people make fun of it. They don't find enjoyment, genuine enjoyment in doing the godly. They use the godly and the holy as an opportunity to make fun of God and make fun of Bible believers. Well, I can assure you God takes note of that, and He's not pleased. Not if the Bible is true, and the Bible is true. So it's hard to find enjoyment in something that you hate. You remember that in the previous lesson we talked about how God desires that we hate sin. Not sinners, not people. We don't hate people. But we have an obligation to hate evil things. Through your precepts I get understanding. Therefore I hate every false way. Psalm 119, verse 104. Abhor that which is evil. Cleave to that which is good. Romans 12:9. Hate the evil and love the good. Amos 5, verse 15. And you know, if we have a proper hatred for sin, a proper hatred for evil, it's going to be hard for us to find enjoyment and occasions for laughter in something that we despise. A third poor attitude regarding sin is that some people try to conceal sin, try to hide sin. You know, as long as there has been sin, there has been the temptation and the desire to conceal it and hide it. You remember Adam and Eve, Genesis chapter 3, when sin became a reality in their lives and they came to realize for the first time that there was that they were naked and there was shame associated with that. The shame that came to be associated with nakedness is the result of sin. And so when they came to realize that, they went and hid themselves.